I remember the first time you told me about the app. It resonated immediately with most people. That idea of extracting the recipe from the website.
Probably a couple of years ago when ChatGPT came out, it was like really taking off, and you could see how it could really affect your day-to-day productivity, speeding things up.
There's frustration with all of the tools at a certain point. They all have like pros and cons, and it's like don't waiting for the perfect tool to stop you from diving in.
Just jump in and try and build something. If you have an idea, just pick a tool and just try to do it.
Welcome to another episode of AI Product Leader. Every week we shine a light on what it takes to join the AI world. Real conversations with real AI builders, founders, product leaders, AI experts, technologists, and everything in between to understand where the world of AI is right now and what that path looks like, whether you're building AI products or a career in AI. Have a question or topic? Email us at support@AI Career Boost and join in on the conversation. I'm your host, Polly Allen. I'm the founder of AI Career Boost, where I spend my time helping product managers navigate the world of AI and helping product leaders transition into leadership roles in the AI space. And I spent my career in both product management and software development sides of the AI world. I'm an ex-Alexa AI principal product manager, and I successfully launched the very first generative AI answers on Alexa back in 2020. I'm exceptionally excited today to welcome our guest. Dave Murray is an accomplished product and operations leader who spent over 15 years shaping the future of tech, media, and e-commerce through cutting-edge innovation at startups, scale-ups, and large enterprises. From launching award-winning platforms at Reach PLC and Yahoo to shaping global product strategy at Gelato and now at Hertz, Dave brings deep expertise in product vision, engineering execution, and user-centered innovation. A lifelong advocate for emerging technology, he's now weaving AI into his product toolkit, building smarter, faster, and more adaptive systems. Dave is also a dedicated mentor, helping the next generation of product leaders grow in their craft. And outside of work, he's a passionate music label founder and DJ, committed to using technology as a force for creative expression and good with real world impact. Thanks so much for joining us, Dave. I'm so excited to have you here.
What a good intro. Thanks very much for having me.
My pleasure. I was especially excited to learn about your DJ experience. I'm sure we'll get to that, but that's it's not often we have a real live DJ on the show. Awesome. Well, as we pointed out in the intro, you have this vast wealth of experience in tech innovation, now in AI as well. But we want to get to know you a little bit better. So before you joined AI, can you tell us a little bit about your career
Yeah.
and that path into technology in the first place?
Yeah. So, my initial start of my career, what I studied was media. So I studied multimedia back in the day. And that was back when Flash was cool. Flash animations was the
Oh,
coolest thing on the internet.
do you
So,
remember Radiskull? Do you remember Radiskull? There was a Radiskull and Devil Doll. It was one of the first Flash animations. Never mind.
no,
Bit of
I
a
don't.
sidetrack there. Please
Yeah.
go on.
But yeah, I was doing a course on media, multimedia, and to be honest, I didn't originally think technically. I didn't have a goal to be a kind of technical person. I was more focused on the media, the creative part. And then I kind of, as we did projects, I ended up getting into the weeds of the kind of technical details. My first kind of role related to that then was actually in Sydney. I went traveling in Australia, landed a role
Mm,
at Yahoo. Well, it was Yahoo 7 back then, and it was like basically building rich media ads, kind of Flash, HTML, stuff like that. Took a bit of a detour, did a master's in journalism. So again, I was kind of in the media space, and then landed up at Yahoo in ad tech. And that was in London.
mm,
And in London, I was basically helping build new ad products for the EMEA market. Had several different roles at Yahoo there in terms of ad product managing teams, and ended up leading an organization there. Then I had a fell out of love a bit with advertising, and stayed in media, joined Reach PLC, which is one of the largest news publishers in the UK,
mm.
and had a great experience there building. Effectively, it was a startup within a larger corporate environment, and that was a
Nice.
really rewarding experience. That was building an app called In Your Area, which is still on the go. Had a brilliant team there, building product, moving at like a really fast pace. Loved that, and then moved to a Norwegian company called Gelato, who work in the print
Mm,
on demand industry. And I was looking after their kind of B2C. consumer facing product. So I guess you can see, like in my experience, it's always been consumer facing. And then recently, I joined Hertz as a kind of product leader working in fleet management.
Mm,
So very different to what I've been working on
yeah.
previously. So I guess like I've kind of bounced around through different industries, but always kind of in the product space.
Interesting. I love how you've got that experience from both large companies and enterprises, but also that like internal kind of like skunkworks kind of group too, growing that. Do you have a favorite space in which to operate? Is it the startup kind of space, scaling up, enterprise?
It's a good question, and I've been thinking about it recently. I really enjoy the start of projects, like getting things off the ground, getting them moving, and then kind of seeing decisions which are like they probably don't feel like huge decisions day to day, but then once you see it actually get built and getting released and making a difference, and people saying that's actually really helped me, or it's like 10x my productivity or whatever. I love that initial thing.
Yeah.
That's not to say like when you get into a more mature product, it's any less satisfying. It's just that maybe the excitement of building something from scratch at the early stages is interesting.
Yeah.
And I guess that's probably something what AI is really good at. I know we haven't talked about AI yet, but I guess that's something that really excites me about AI.
Yeah.
Is like
That was going to
how
be
that,
my next question is
yeah.
how did you get interested in the AI space? What was, do you remember the first time you were like, ooh, I'm interested in that. That's going to add that to my toolkit?
Um, that's also a good question. I think probably a couple of years ago when ChatGPT came out, and it was like really taking off, and you could see how it could really affect your day-to-day productivity, speeding things up. And then I guess just kind of keeping an eye on like OpenAI and Anthropic and how they're releasing things, and like the breakneck speed that things are moving at.
Yeah.
And you can see they're releasing so many features so often. As you're kind of trying to keep up with this stuff, you're all constantly thinking how that could make your day better, whether that's like kind of creating your own agents to kind of connect things together, or just simple things like building really simple demos to explain to your team an idea, or to even like build an MVP, an internal MVP of something that you can kind of showcase an idea.
Nice, awesome. Well, speaking of MVPs,
Mm.
you were part of the earlier Blueprint cohort earlier this year, and you built out a full AI-enabled MVP. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Tasteflow?
Yeah, yeah. So I built out Tasteflow, which was great fun to work on. Where that came about from was my wife and her sister are really keen on diet and like healthy eating. They have specific dietary requirements, and it's not always easy to eat food that you like and when you have to stick to those kind of dietary requirements. So whether that's gluten free, dairy free, etc. So that was one thing that was kind of playing on my mind. It's tough to satisfy people who have those requirements. And on the other side of that, one thing that really frustrates me is when you do look up recipes online, you go to a website and it will have reams and reams of content, SEO optimized content, ads all over the place, and you have to scroll down right to the bottom of the page before you actually get to the recipe. So I was like, how can we tie those two things together? So what Tasteflow does basically is if you're looking for a recipe, you just share the URL. Tasteflow does checks on that URL, pulls all the content, simplifies it, takes out any of the kind of unnecessary content, creates simplified language version of it, and then if the user has, you can create an account, and if the user has dietary requirements, it tailors it to those dietary requirements. So it would swap out like um, dairy substitutes for non-dairy,
Yes.
etc. Um,
Totally.
and then another aspect of it was about kind of green, like doing something, um, being conscious of carbon. So you can put in, if you want to only have local ingredients, so ingredients that are
Yeah.
local to your country, it will find substitutes that are local to your country. So the idea was to basically have this kind of taste, yeah, I guess like an application to tailor recipes to your
Yeah.
specific taste, your lifestyle, and then I had plans to do a lot more with it. I just haven't got there yet.
No, but it's live, right? And I think I remember the first time you told me about the app. It resonated immediately with most people 'cause that idea of extracting the recipe from the website was so resonates with people who are so used to scrolling through page after page of someone's life story and everything to get down to the recipe, right?
Yeah, and it's so like people these days, I think as well use a lot of different sources to get their recipes. So one thing that I wanted to do that I haven't got to yet was socials, like everybody sharing recipes on Instagram or TikTok
Yeah,
or whatnot. What I wanted to do was basically grab recipes or understand what's happening in the videos on those platforms, turn it into text, and then you can basically create your own repository of all these recipes, and then even have
yeah,
one thing I wanted to do eventually was bring build on the kind of social aspect to it as well. So sharing recipes, or if you're going to have a kind of a dinner party, who are your friends that are coming, understand their dietary requirements, and then based on that, this is the recipe that you can do.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, totally. And I love you have a roadmap painted out for you because some of us, like myself, are avid users already. So
Just need to
I'm
build it
sure
now.
exactly all the PR requests are coming in. The change request. That's fantastic. Well, I know one of your stated goals for the program too, though, was to build that like that prototyping muscle. Is this
Mhm.
something you find you're using at Hertz? Are you using AI in your day to day there?
Yeah, I think it's still early days. So I've only recently moved into this role, but I have had one instance of it recently where we're talking about building a specific feature, which is to do with like you're looking at a vehicle having pictograms of where certain dints or damage are is on a car, um, and there's obviously like lots of different vehicle types. So you have like vans, cars, etc. Um, so it was to basically try and get those different pictograms and then map them out so that no matter what the vehicle type, if a person or a user clicks on a specific part of it, it will map it no matter what view of the pictogram you're looking at, whether that's like the front pictogram, left, etc., etc. So I, again, similar to what I was building with Tay, so I quickly did a prototype on Lovable, shared it with the team, and it's good just to kind of get that interactive thing done. That was like a quick
Yeah,
one and a half hour, 2 hour thing, um, just to kind of quickly
right.
show
And
how it could work. Yeah.
amazing. So you're using what is your tech stack for prototyping that you're most comfortable with?
Well, so I mean, what I built Tasteflow with was a tool called
Yeah,
Hunch.tools and Lovable. Uh, I thought Lovable was going
yeah,
to just be for the front end, but Lovable is actually very flexible. So it was a mix of those two things, and then I was plugging Hunch into tools like I used ChatGPT for some of the like language processing, and I think one thing I was experimenting with was Google Vision as
Mm.
well for images and generating some images as well. So,
Oh,
um,
amazing.
but I guess this is the thing with AI at the minute. There's so many tools, and it's hard to like at the beginning decide like which one to go for. But I
Yeah,
guess this would be one of the advice for people is like just pick some and start building with some of them. Like you're not going to be able to try all
totally.
the tools.
Exactly. No, it's a really good point. It feels like there's frustration with all of the tools at a certain point. They all have like pros and cons, and it's like
Yeah,
don't waiting for the perfect tool
yeah,
stop you from diving
yeah.
in.
Because it doesn't exist
Yeah,
and it probably never
absolutely.
will exist.
Amazing. But yeah, you mentioned Lovable.dev. It's one of the full stack app development platforms that actually writes code for you based on your prompts. Did you have a background in coding coming into that to be able to understand what it was doing?
I mean, my level of coding is not where it probably should be. So I was worked as an engineer way back, but
Oh, okay.
I
Oh,
was not
wow.
a good engineer. I was terrible, but I understood the concepts, and that's probably something that I think as you're using Lovable, it helps to understand, how things are structured and to be able to ask Lovable why it did things a certain way. It also connects to GitHub, so you can actually go into GitHub and actually look at the code and understand uh, different aspects of it. But I guess that where AI helps for me is like I would really struggle to build some of those apps from scratch. without
Yeah,
AI, it would take me a long time. Whereas I feel like it's really strong at just getting something, a boilerplate version of something up and running pretty quickly, and then
totally.
you iterate from there.
Exactly. For sure. For prototyping interactions or I remember too, you've got a really slick interface on Tasteflow. Did you have to iterate a
Yeah.
lot to get it looking that way, or did it look pretty good the first time you
Um,
tried it out?
with Tato, so I didn't really give examples. I think with that I was not strict with my prompts at the beginning, but I paid
Yeah,
attention to the prompt and really like said I spent time refining that, so I knew exactly what I wanted, the features I wanted it to have at the start, and it actually
yeah,
only took maybe two or three iterations for it to get something pretty decent. So it filled in a lot of the blanks as well quite well, and I think that was one of the things I found really good about Lovable. It does filled in the blanks at the early stage pretty well, and then you can refine from there.
nice. That's awesome. Excellent.
Mhm.
Well, I'm so glad that you're still finding that useful. I know the tools will continue to evolve, but that muscle of learning new tools and finding the fastest way to get the job done.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the key piece.
it is.
Awesome. So that's quite the transformation. You're now using AI all the time. You're advising on AI strategy. Do you have any advice for folks who are looking to get started in AI? How did you think about getting started?
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess it's probably different now to when I started. I would say my first kind
Yeah,
of dealings with AI was when I was working at Reach PLC, and we were building
yeah,
um, an app which relied heavily on machine learning. So um, I would say these days it's probably simpler in the sense that anyone could really uh, get up to speed or get something built in a relatively short space of time. I think the main thing is that, and that I got from the AI Career Boost course, was just jump in and try and build something. If you have an idea, um, just pick a tool and just like try to do it. And I
yeah,
guess the great thing with AI is like the like ChatGPT or those tools are nearly assistants to kind of help you if you're struggling with a particular technical part. They can help you um,
totally.
uh, join the dots and get moving pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're here to help too. I think some folks have been scared to jump in at the tech deep end without, say,
Yeah,
a developer they can ask questions to.
yeah,
Being able to get that assistance when needed is
yeah,
encourages people, makes some people
yeah.
less scared, I think. Amazing. Well, fantastic. And if you were to boil down your advice to someone who's in software, wants to be in the AI space, leading in the AI space, but doesn't know where to get started, what would that advice be?
Probably similar to what I just said as well, is just try and
Yeah.
build, because I don't I you do maybe need a foundational knowledge in some aspects in terms of like technical things potentially, but to actually build
Yeah.
something, the help is all there, like in ChatGPT or even YouTube. Like there's some great
Yeah.
tutorials on YouTube, um, and
Exactly.
get like probably a basic understanding of what a good prompt looks
Mm,
like, and kind of
totally.
start experimenting basically.
Start from there. Exactly.
Yeah,
The possibilities are unlimited.
yeah,
Quick, kind of unrelated question.
yeah.
Are you using AI in any way with your music label and DJ pursuit?
Not really. I think these days
Fine if
as
not.
no, it's just Spotify recommendations is as AI
It's as
related
close as
as
you get.
for me at the minute. Yeah. And to be honest,
That's
I haven't
awesome.
had any time in quite a while to
Right.
actually jump in on the DJing side, unfortunately.
Yeah. Ramping up on a new role is always intimidating,
Mm,
but it takes up all your time, of course.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, well, you'll let us know when you're DJing next. We can include that in the show notes.
yeah, will do.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Excellent. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Dave. I really appreciate you sharing your wealth of expertise with us. We only have one time for one last segment, and that is plugs. So is there anything people should get in contact with you with? Anything you want to connect with people on?
Yeah, so I guess we've talked about it already, but I registered a website for Tasteflow, so you can check it out at
Yeah,
tasteflow.co, tasteflow.co.
tasteflow.co.
Um, yep, and I mean I'm still building it out, so it's quite MVP at the minute, but I will keep
Yeah,
building on there. And then you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Uh, just find me, David Murray, on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. Exactly. Always good to connect. And I can vouch for Tasteflow. I do use it, especially for that recipe extraction piece. I love using it. Very fun. So yeah, on my side, just wanted to plug, we are all doing our free monthly masterclass, the path to AI product leadership. If you are looking to know what the best skills are to bone up on how to successfully lead AI initiatives like Dave is doing, please do come to our free masterclass. We hold that monthly. As always, I love to shamelessly plug the show. So be sure to like and subscribe if you like hearing inspirational stories of folks joining and thriving in AI. And that is the end of our show. So thanks a lot for joining, Dave. And that's another episode of AI Product Leader. We'll see you all next week.